feel like it's taken a million years to get here?
Yeah, training camp felt a little longer with 3 preseason games. You had that extra week of, some Browns versus Browns practices and stuff like that. But we're here now. We're in game week and we're ready to go.
We've talked a lot about the continuity and the stability on offense. Have you seen that, Joel? Has it felt that way, throughout camp and the small time you guys got on the field in the exhibition season?
Yeah, I think so. You bring everybody back. I think everybody just knows each other a little bit more, on and off the field. And then, last few weeks when we've been getting Odell and Jarvis and everybody kind of out there, it's felt good. I feel like Baker and those guys have a pretty good connection right now. And we have a huge test coming up, but it'll be good to get everybody out there for week 1 and see how it goes.
Nobody talks. Go ahead, Tom. Nobody talks much about the Chiefs' defense. What about it?
Oh, they got some players over there now. I think Chris Jones is one of the better D linemen in the league. He'll be surprised kind of where he lines up. I know he played in the preseason some defensive end and base and comes inside and sub, so we'll probably all get our shot, going against him. And then, Tyrann Mathieu on the back end kind of makes everything go. But everybody else that plays on their defense, does their role well, too. You saw in the playoff game, we didn't score enough points against them. Their defense did a really good job against us. So it's definitely a challenge. And, it might be a little tough for them sometimes because they're putting up so many points, on offense that teams are going to take their shots and have, scripted passes almost because you got to try and keep up. But no, they do a great job and they have some, some of the best players in the league at their position over there.
How big of a difference does it make off the bat that when you go back to that continuity, you guys already know what you want to do. You already know the system, and you're kind of just adding wrinkles to it and whatever else.
Yeah, no, it's good. Last year we kind of went in super blind. We'd been together, we'd done some stuff, but no OTAs, really no preseason games. This year at least we have, pretty much, 17 games last year plus 3 preseason plus 2 training camps. So we're getting there. And it's a new season, so I think new things happen. But for us, it's good to have the same play callers, the same quarterback, the same offensive line, and we kind of know what we want to do, like you said. So it's we're looking forward to it. It's the first game of the season, and I think everybody's excited to get out there and see where we're at.
Last year, you guys were regarded as one of the better offensive line units in the league. Just from what you've seen so far, do you guys feel like you'll be able to kind of pick things up right where you left off last year up front?
I mean, that's the goal. We want to be good. We want to improve, though, from last year. We left a lot out there. We felt, as a group, there's games and plays that we all wanted to have back. And it's hard, but O-line is working to be perfect, you know what I mean? You want to play 60, 70 snaps a game, and, your goal is to not let your guy make a play or make a tackle. So we're all trying to work to really, take that next step. And I know guys put in the time, but we're hopefully be able to play, 17 games together, keep the O-line out there and see where we can end up at the end of the year.
Joe, they have 5 new offensive line starters. I know you're not worried about it, but everyone assumes it's Mahomes, it's Andy Reid, it's going to work, no problem. What's their challenge over there?
It does help to have those 2 guys, though, I'll tell you that. But they got good players. I mean, I've watched Joe Thuney a bunch. He's, one of the better guards in the league, so to have that guy, Orlando Brown, obviously he's moving to left tackle now, and then they got a couple rookies in there on the inside, and kind of a rookie on the right. He hasn't played much at right tackle, but they obviously like those guys. They invested a lot of money in that group and a lot of draft picks, and they played a lot in the preseason. I think they got almost 3 full halves of play, so they've had some experience out there. But it's going to be. I think both lines of scrimmage are going to have some tough tests. Anytime you go against Miles and our D line is going to be a tough test as well. But we'll see how they go. I know they've worked together, but they do have good pieces there, and they're going to have a good scheme with Coach Andy Reid over there.
Joel, you're one of the longest tenured Browns, and even before your time, it just seems like they always struggle in that season opener. Can you put a finger on exactly what that is that's contributed to them just not getting out of the gates well?
We haven't really talked about it much. We don't really look back on our history. I know we didn't play well last year in our first game, but it's really on us to go out and execute and just be in the moment. You know what I mean? It's the first game of the season. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a packed house and it's going to be loud. But if we just focus on each play, hopefully by the end of the day we'll work and get a win one of these times.
I know everybody focuses on the opener because this build-up is so long, and this year you have the added dynamic of the rematch with the Chiefs. So, is there a danger in putting too much emphasis on week 1?
Yeah, and I think our coaches did a good job. I mean, you watch tape, you have a little bit more time to prepare. But we were last week, like I said, we were going Browns versus Browns most of the time, so we had some plays in that we're going to run in the game because it's your base game plan, but we didn't have specifics in quite yet. You don't want to overload it because kind of by a few 10, 13 days of game planning, like you're going to be bogged down on that stuff. You're going to think like, oh, I'm going to see this look when they can, come out and run a totally different look, especially first game of the season. They have a lot of multiple fronts, so you don't know what they're gonna bring to you. But yeah, we just wanted to hone our craft and really take care of our assignments and get going. And this week we're doing a lot more game plan and specific stuff. But yeah, I think we're in a good spot, and we have a few days left of practice to really hone it in.
Joel, how much discussion has there been among the linemen about getting out there in a crazy loud stadium after you guys didn't play in front of many fans last year, and how that affects your jobs?
Yeah, we're working on it. We know it's going to be loud. We've watched some of the first games of the season in Arrowhead where it gets pretty loud, and there's been some miscommunications up front and some offsides and false starts. We're working on it though. We're working on silent count, working on silent communication and things like that. So we've talked about it. It's definitely been part of our thing, and since really early in camp, we've been trying to work on that stuff. So we're in a good spot, when we get out there.
When you talk about the defense, Anthony Hitchens is a local kid, but the linebacker, do you notice him when you're watching film? And I think he kind of directs what they do and gets everybody in the right spot.
Yeah, he's I think especially base downs, he's kind of like the leader out there, and he makes the calls, make sure, and they actually do a lot, so he has to communicate a bunch, that with motions and they have different multiple fronts, so they're not just lining up in the same front every time. So he does a good job, and they blitz those guys a bunch, so they move around. I think that's their kind of calling card when they needed man coverage, blitz the house, see what happens.
Joel, you guys got 3 guys in your D-line that really get off the ball well, and Miles, Tack, and Jadeveon. What kind of stress does that put on an offensive line when you know that somebody can get off that quickly?
Yeah, you have to really trust your set and really get off on the ball, because if you're a half second behind on any of those guys, you're in a bad position, and you're really trying to recover the whole time. So really, it's how quick can they get off on the count. Change of cadence is going to be big for them and stuff like that. But when you have a guy like Miles on the edge, like any mistake you make, he's just going to make it magnified. You know what I mean? So it's definitely something in the back of their mind this week.
The fact that you guys didn't play much in the preseason, does that add to your concern maybe about how sharp you'll be? Just because of the noise, and then you got that too.
I don't think so. I think the starting O-line, besides JC, Baker got out there, Kareem got out there. I think guys played, and we've been going against our guys. In the preseason, you don't really get to work, it's never that loud.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you're not really working, your silent counts and stuff of that nature. But I think we'll be ready. I mean, it's first game, so there might be, some little hiccups. We're doing our best to try and avoid those.
How good of a job do you think you guys did last year when you say be in the moment? And how much does that come from Stefanski?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, we just talk about we never look too far ahead, too far behind. Once it's past us and we've learned from it, we're staying in the moment, and that's what he stresses. He stresses hard work, staying in the moment, and I think the coaching staff's key to keeping that mantra going, because if we keep bringing things up, you always want to learn from the film and stuff, but once you get past a certain point, it's just like, hey, we're playing the next play and we figured it out, and let's roll.
I know it's not a primetime game, but do you think there'll be some juice by having kind of this big matchup, for your your guys?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's NFL, so there's only 32 games. 32 teams, 16 games. So it's a big game every time we go out there. You know what I mean? But it's a rematch of playoff teams, and you got Jim Nance and Tony Romo making the call. But we're going out there. We got a tough team to play. I mean, they're been in the Super Bowl the last 2 years, so we got to bring our A game, and that's enough for us to get going.
What's it like being you guys are a team that's in the spotlight now? You're not going to sneak up on anyone. There's obviously high expectations for you guys. How tough is it to keep that tunnel vision and tune out the positive chatter on the outside of people saying that you guys are Super Bowl contenders,
right,
or you can finally win a division and things like that?
For me, it's easy because we got to go out and do it. You know what I mean? We're there's been nothing given to us, and we got to play 17 games here, and we got to try and win as many as possible, because we're in one of the toughest divisions in football, and every week's going to be a battle. And for players, I think we have a mindset of you have to go out there and earn it each week you play. Each time you put on the helmet, you earn the ability to be a good team, and that's what we're working on. We're just trying to work to put ourselves in position at the end of the year and see where we're at.